Alright guys, I am back for a brief video wherein I'm going to have y'all help me pick a world to play in. Because I am going to start a third season and it's not going to be related to any of the others despite wanting vengeance against certain forgotten beasts that no longer exist because they're in versions of the game that are really old now. You can see I'm up to 0.06, which is good for me. I like that. You can do a lot of custom things. But I did 5 worlds ahead of time, scoured them, wrote down notes, took details, and we'll go over each one separately, and you guys are going to help me pick one. I think actually there's one that's probably what is it called, a shoe-in already because of a weird confluence of things, but we'll give them all a fair shot. Okay, so first up is, what was it? Ilyusshil? I'm going to use pronunciations that I use in my own universes and stuff, just for future reference. So double S is an SH sound, just for future reference. So this one's called Ilyusshil. Ilussil. Let's see, where'd the notes go? Okay, so it's called the Ever-Seeing Plain. Relatively small dwarf population. Let's see, what have we got? Ooh, don't want that. Tab. Okay, so we got the Obsidian Cobalt and the Furnace of Alchemy, both of which are not bad names. I like the Obsidian Cobalt, by the way. Some of these words are ones I've added to, fill out what major gaps. So we got those two. But between the two, there are about approximately, I looked at the files, 500 dwarves left in the entire world. So they're a bit of an underdog. Compared to that, there are 10,000 humans, 900 elves. Elves and dwarves are kind of in the same place here. As well as kobolds, 900 kobolds, but there are 48,000 goblins. High populations of goblins is pretty much normal, but some are more. I also went into the files and looked for the least common animal, maybe to use as a symbol or something later on. And what I found was there's a tie between sea monsters and lynx. There were 2 of each in the entire world. 2. They're on extinction's doorstep. Now, the world itself is kind of hard to see here. There needs to be a better way to view this map. But it's got a good aligned outer ocean, otherwise it'd be a dark blue for neutral. And that influences both poles. Both are sort of good aligned because they're really just an overlap of the ocean. We've got some neutral hills or mountains and some neutral hills over here. And then we've got some evil hills and mountains all the way through here, separating that one from another set of neutral hill mountains over here. And it looks like there are a lot of dwarven ruins in this vicinity out here. There's a lot of volcanism over here, and I like these little fingerling things going on, plus this peninsula. Excuse me. But there's not much you can do out there. If you build out on those islands, of course, you get no real trade partners, which kind of stinks. There are, let's see, what else? There's Spindly Islands, lots of volcanism, mentioned that. Too large, mentioned that. Small neutral desert in the north right here. I like deserts, and unfortunately there are no volcanoes in this desert, which is a mixture I like, because then you can make glass fortresses and stuff, but that does not seem to be possible here. This is another one down here. Nope, that volcano's buried in the mountains. It's not like I can't just, build one in the desert and dig down and have forges underneath, but I also like magma pipes, personally. Okay, next up, number 2, Itua Kajeth, the Expanse of Griffins. This one is kind of interesting. Again, we have a good aligned outer ocean with lots of volcanoes out in inaccessible places. That's one thing counting against it. It's also down here in the ice sheets where nobody will trade with me. But the landscape itself is pretty. It's sort of a triple continent where you have this main western continent. You can see it's sort of jagged and with evil and good here and evil there. Evil here, some neutral areas. What's this? This looks like a good aligned Rapturous Dunes. And a fair number of dwarves. A tower. Like here is a tower, here's a tower. There are 3 towers on the main continent. And then we have a small continent with elves on it, and a volcanic isthmus, which is kind of neat. And then a second isthmus dominated by evil swamp. And the evil itself just perpetuates all the way down through this continent, except for the eastern shores. And you get, looks like a lost civilization. Look at all those ruins right there. Maybe destroyed, probably up here as well. Lost elves. But you still have some elves down here. So overall, that's pretty neat. Let's see, what do I say? In terms of statistics, Ituakajef, 5,400 dwarves, so a lot higher population, 9,000 humans, 8,000 elves, so we're still outnumbered, 37,000 goblins, and 1,000 kobolds. This is all approximate. There's 2 here and minus 1 there, whatever. The rarest creatures were, again, a tie between sloth bears and lynx. Did I say lynx last time? I did. Lynx are very rare in these maps. I don't know why, but they often... Sometimes I would pick something else over lynx just because they were so rare all the time. Now, if they had been lynx men... Okay, so third... I skipped over the actual third, but because I want it for last. But third up is Urub-Thar, which is a different sort of map from all the others. Now, all the others were using the same... World Gen init files. This one, the other ones sort of leaned more towards large regions with alignments, and so you'd get not entire oceans and entire mountain ranges and stuff with either good or evil, and usually the oceans are evil. In this case, I reversed it, so most of the good and evil stuff is lumped into small regions. It still ended up influencing the things, but what came out was interesting enough, so I thought I'd do this one little outlier. Now, Urub-Thar means what? Hello? Bear with me, I have to pull up the file again. Urub-Thar. Okay. Everlasting land, actually it says that down here in the corner, doesn't it? We have, in this world, 1,500 dwarves, and let's take a look, actually. The Charitable Boot and the Gemmy Mirror. I think I like the Gemmy Mirror best, but between the two, 1,500 dwarves and 6,700 humans, 3,000 elves, almost 80,000 goblins, and 450 kobolds. And in this world, the rarest creature is the giant panda at 2. 2 giant pandas, so maybe they're immortal giant pandas or something. Probably not. We should send out a mission to kill both of them. Anyways, let's see. In this, we have a mountain range, and a mountain range, and a mountain range, both all neutral. More hills over here. And another set of hills over here with a peak, and that's neutral. But we got some evil hills over here. And then some good aligned hills and mountains down here. Now, this side of the ocean is evil, and this side of the ocean is good. But we got, let's see, wastelands and conifer forest, hills, vomitous hills, steppe, savanna, really, all evil up here. Yeah, and let's see, dwarves seem to be mostly around the center. Do we have any interesting constructs? Got some, let's see, hello, the Forest of Dying. Show me this. Emneni. That doesn't tell me much. I guess it's a tomb of some kind. Let's see. There's another tomb down here. It seems to be about it. So this one is just interesting in that it probably will produce a lot more variety. Ooh. Look at this one. See that? I like that. Let's see. Shallow metals. Shallow metal. Shallow metal. Very, very, very good. I was kind of hoping... no. An aquifer would have helped, but whatever. Very interesting. But this should provide, I think, like I was about to say, much more unique confluences where you have, one thing intersecting with another to make for some possible good locations that you can experience within one fort. Okay. Fourth on the list is, I've already forgot, Smata Bagsnub. I needed to have at least one, I tried to have one named world per race that could name things, and I'm not entirely sure it succeeded because I'm having a hard time telling the difference between human and dwarf and human and elf. There's a sort of a halfway, it's almost like Korean. It's like halfway between Chinese and Japanese. But this one is distinctly goblin in name, and that is Smata Bagsnub, meaning Realms of Wonder, which I find really interesting that the goblins, would have this sense of wonder about the world. It's very ungoblin, I suppose. Now, the ocean is definitely evil. The poles, both poles here are evil. But they have this one meandering, large mountain range that is very good. And there's this inner valley, a wide inner valley. Has definitely some goblins in it, but it's fairly neutral itself, and it's got a pleasing river passing through it that I think through here expands and gets rather large. And every once in a while, I kind of want to make a fort on or over, or even, I don't know, to either side of a large river. Probably won't happen this time, but so we got some interesting volcanoes, evil marsh, some good wastelands over here, a whole heck of a lot of fiery mountains down here, large plains and forest, all neutral, and more up here with plenty. Oh, we got a dwarf civilization up here on the cape. Interesting. More down here. Seems like the dwarves are pretty much all, actually most of the civilization seems to be here. And there's a tower right in the middle of it, come to think of it. Let's see. Istrul Pude. I don't know really how that translates. Oh, there's another one. There's another one right there. How many more? Got a desert up here. I like deserts. Oh, desert over here. But that volcano is not in the desert, which is too bad. Thinking. All right, well, so let's see. This was Usmata. So 2,700 roughly dwarves total in the entire world. 5,200 humans, 5,300 elves, 87,000 goblins, and 400 kobolds. The rarest creature I was able to find in the list, 4 giant ocelots. Okay, and finally, last but not least, Mamgaz Roth. Very awkward name. However, what it means is the Draconic Domain, which is very interesting. And what's particularly interesting is, let's see, can I zoom out more? Okay, so look at it. You probably can't see my cursor. Let's try it this way. So we have what looks like the profile of a dragon with his jaw open and fangs down and lower jaw here and his neck, and he's got like a horn or something going on up here. So this, it's not only that it was named the Dragonic Realm by random, it looks like a dragon at random, which is freaking great. So this is probably why everybody's going to vote for this one. Other than that, there are a couple of drawbacks. So let's go back in. So before we get into those, here's a good aligned lake, which is kind of neat. Evil swamps, or savanna actually. Good aligned mountains, plenty of volcanoes. Some volcanoes on the nose out here, plus a good aligned swamp. Neutral fangs, neutral island lower jaw, except for some evil woods down here. An evil ice shelf. It's kind of interesting. You can embark there. It's just there's nobody nearby. See, we got the Circumstantial Corridor is the name of our civilization. I've complained about this before, I think, but I wish if you had like the sovereign living with you, you could petition to rename the civilization. So it looks like we got a tower here. Olithstram. Got some good aligned swamp. Ooh, lots and lots of good aligned swamps. Plus some volcanoes, though most of them seem to be tied up in the mountains, which is a little difficult. Here we got mostly mountain with a little bit of swamp in the corner, and it's not so bad. But the problem is, that corner will probably be like sheer cliffs, which I guess when it's as limited as that might not be a bad thing. So maybe that's our fortress there. Let's see. That's pretty much it. A lot of the volcanoes are inaccessible. That's a little bit of a pain, but there's enough. Let's see, we've got another tower up here. Yeah, looks good. So, we already saw that tower down there. So here's the interesting bit. Mamgaz-Roth has had a tumultuous history. 86,000 kobolds. Sorry, that's not right. Goblins. 613 precisely kobolds. 18,000 humans, so they're doing okay. But there are 24 elves in the entire world, and only 11 dwarfs. So that means that after one batch of migrants, there aren't going to be any dwarves left in the entire world, unless it's literally making them up out of thin air, which would be an interesting experiment, actually. But that also probably means that almost right away I'm going to end up with somebody in the civilization or on my fort is going to decide they're now king or queen, and I'm going to have to scurry to make some sort of room to keep them satisfied for a while, very, very early in the fortress. Otherwise, there could be fun. So there's that. That's interesting to me. The rarest creature is sloth bear, by the way.